Oh, Doctor Jorge, where were you?
Good work, don Mario.
Oh, ¿dónde andaba?
Estábamos esquiando con mi familia
Oh, very nice. ¿Dónde?
en Aspen. So I didn't get a chance to sit at the hour that you guys were learning. I'm sorry.
Okay. Shavua Tov, everybody.
Shavua Tov. Walter. Was Master Walter?
Yeah.
How are you?
Okay, good. Something wrong with my screen, looks like.
Yeah, no, you're jumping like you're riding a horse.
Yeah, I am. Okay, I'm waiting.
All right.
Where are we?
11. 11.
Perfecto.
¿Dónde me dijo que estuvo? No entendí.
Oh, estuvimos esquiando en Aspen,
Oh, in
Colorado.
Aspen. Oh,
En
very
Aspen,
nice.
Colorado.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Good work. Good work.
Good work.
Wow.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Wow, even your phone is yellow, your sweater is yellow.
I didn't realize that. It's all I want is something warm.
Yeah.
Nice Kiddushin shul today.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went all out. I like that.
Yeah. And the people were very hungry.
Because it went 15 minutes longer.
Yeah.
Harold, nice phone.
Oh, you like it? My phone, my sweater. Mario noticed that.
You send that to Israel for the hostages so they come out. If the terrorists see that color, they'll let them out right away.
I just hope my underwear is not this color.
I like that, Walter. That was good. You think that seeing that they'll definitely give up?
Yeah. I never lose this. I can always know where it is.
That's true.
Or God willing, nobody else wants it.
Nobody. You know what? I think that's it.
I'm sorry. That was not nice. All right.
That's good.
I'll keep quiet.
Let's see.
You know, look at the news and they keep sending rockets from Gaza. They have still places where they can shoot them from.
In Gaza? Really?
Yeah.
Today there were 2 of them.
They was.
It just shows you how it's the whole population that's involved. This can't be anything but that.
Yeah.
What tov, everybody, Chag Sameach.
Chag
Chag Sameach.
Sameach.
We are on Yud Aleph, 11. Zman nasi tzarech gdi simen. Torah rabbanon ein ma'abrin sashana ela b'mezumin law. Bezdin that is going to adjudicate and create a leap year by adding an extra month, they have to be invited by the nasi to attend. It's not stam. There are specific judges that are going to be invited to this event. And to point this out, the Gemara gives us a story. Ma'aser Rav Gamliel. She'omar hashkimu li shiva laliyah. Rabbi Gamliel requested 7 judges to come up to the attic to help him as a bezdin add a leap month to the year. He woke up early to go up there, and he found that there were 8 there, not 7. So I invited 7. I didn't invite 8. Who is the one who snuck in here? Whoever that is, Yere, should go out. Amad Shmuel HaKotten v'Amar. So Shmuel HaKotten stood up and said, Anihu shalisi shelo b'shus. I'm the one who went up without permission. V'lo la'aber hashana alisi. I didn't come up to actually serve as one of the dayanim in the bezdin. Ela lilmod aloch l'maisu tzrakti. I actually wanted to learn what's going on. How do they do it? Omer lo shev nishem. So Rabbi Gamliel told him, sit. Ru'uyas kol hashanim kulon lisar bel yad. You are so expert in astronomy and in these laws that you could adjudicate all years by yourself. Chazal created this law that it requires 7, and the 7 have to be invited. Now the Gemara gives us an aside. Lo Shmuel HaKotten Av. It was not Shmuel HaKotten who was the one that was not invited. It was Elaina Shachrina. Umachmas Kisufa Huda. But he didn't want the other person to be embarrassed. So he stood up as if he was the one, but really he was not the one. And Kihati Yosef Rebbe the Kodorish. This same similar story happened to Rebbe. Rebbe was darshaning. Ve'riach ruach shum. There was a very small, very strong smell of garlic. Somebody had eaten garlic, and Rebbe was very sensitive to this. He couldn't tolerate it. Omar misha achal shum yetze. Whoever is the garlic eater here should leave. Omar Rab Chia v'yatsa. So Rab Chia stood up and went, left. Amdu kulan v'yatsu. I guess to avoid Rab Chia to be embarrassed, they all went out. B'shachar, the next morning, Matzah Rab Shimon Rab Chia. The next morning, Rab Shimon, the son of Rabbi, confronted Rab Chia. Amar le'atau shetziarta la'abba. What are you using garlic for and causing service for my father? Amar lo tekazos b'Yisrael. It was not me who did it. I accepted the blame for it so somebody else would not be embarrassed. Rab Chia meicha gamir la Rab Meir. Where did Rab Chia learn this lesson from? From Rab Meir, the Tanya. Ma'isa b'ishacha shabos l'beis midrash shel Rab Meir. A woman came to the yeshiva of Rab Meir. Amar lo Rebbe echad mikem kitsheni bebiyah. The woman said, one of your talmidim, one of you here in this base medrash, slept with me. That's basically what she said. She said it in a clean way, that he did it l'shem kiddushin. But she doesn't know who it was. And either she wants that person to formally marry her, or at least give her a divorce, so she could marry somebody else. Amar Rab Meir v'kasav lo get krisus. Rab Meir stood up and wrote her a get. So everybody in the yeshiva followed Rab Meir's lead, wrote her a get, and gave it to her. So Memela, one of them was the culprit, and Memela, she got the get that she needed. And why did Rab Meir do that? Rab Meir's the Rosh Yeshiva. It was obviously not him. He didn't want anyone to be embarrassed. Rab Meir Mecha Gomer Law. Where did Rab Meir see this? Mishmul HaKot. From the story that we heard from Shmuel HaKot. Ushmul HaKot Meicha Gomer Lo. Where did Shmuel HaKot learn it for? Mishachanya ben Yechiel. In the time of Ezra, Sofer, when they came up, they made Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael from Bavel, and many of the men had married Gentile wives. Dichsi Vayan Shchanya ben Yechiel mibnei Elam vayomer leEzra, Anachnu ma'alnu beloheinu, v'neshev noshim nachrios mamei haaretz. We committed a sin. We married foreign women, mamei haaretz, v'atay yeshmik v'Yisrael alzos. And now we will purify them. That wasn't he himself who did it, but he did it in a way that everyone, because we see there is a list given in Sefer Ezra of all the men that had married foreign women, but he's not in there. So he confessed for others, on behalf of others, didn't want the others to be embarrassed. Ushchanya ben Yechiel Meicha Gomer Lei. Where did Shchanya learn this midah? Me'Yoshua. Dichsi vayomer Hashem Yoshua, kum lach, lama zeh ata nofel al panecha chata Yisrael. When Klal Yisrael were attacking the city Ai, they were given a commandment that they weren't allowed to take booty. And one of the people, Achan, took booty. And Amar lefonu Ribono Shalom michata. So Hashem asked Yeshua, who sinned? Amar lo v'chidel ani lecha. What? I'm not a fink. I'm not a muser. Hatel gorolo. So they made a goyrol, and it fell on Achan. But we see it's important not to embarrass a person. He spoke to Klal Yisrael, as all of them, that why are you continuing to sin? And the Chaitim are only a small group, but he referred to all of Klal Yisrael because he didn't want to embarrass anybody specific. Ton Rabbanon. Once the last Nevi'im died, Chagai Zechar Malachi, there was no more Nevuah. There was no more Ruach HaKodesh. There was something from time to time. They would hear a voice, a baskol, and it was like Hashem giving them a message. It's not Ruach HaKodesh, it's a different form, baskol. So Pamachas, Hayu Mesubim Baliyas Beis Goria, B'Yericho. They were having a dinner in the one second. They were eating dinner. They heard a baskol that said, there is someone in this group that is fit to have the Shechina appear to him like Moshe Rabbeinu. Ela she'ein dor zakeh lekach. It's just that the generation is not worthy. Nasu chachamim esanei b'Hillel hazaken. Now, they didn't know who they were referring to, but the people in that crowd looked at Hillel. They figured it must be Hillel. Uchshemeis, when Hillel Zaken died, they called him a chassid and none of the Talmid of Ezra. In a later generation, they were having a meal in the attic in Yavne. And they had a bas kol again here, Yeshkan Echad, Sheroy Shetishra Love Shechina. That there's someone in this group who's roy to have the Shechina appear. El She'ein Dor Zakeh Lekach. It's just that the generation is not worthy. Nasu Chachamim Saneim Bishmul HaKod. The Chachamim turn their eyes to Shmuel HaKod. Ucheshemeis Amar Lav Hei Chasid Hei Anav Tamido Shel Hillel. When he died, they said the same phrase. Avhu Amar B'Shas Misaso. When Shmuel HaKotan died, he said Shimon v'Yishmael. He meant the Nasi Rav Shimon Gamliel and the Kohen Gadol Rabbi Yishmael. Lecharva are going to die by the sword. He was predicting that the Romans are going to execute them. They are two of the 10 Haruge Malchus that we referred to in the Eila Eskara on Yom Kippur. The Chavru L'Ktala, and their friends or their group will also be put to death. Ushar Amalabiza, the rest of the people are going to be taken prisoner like the Romans did. Vakan Sagin Atid L'Mesa Alalmo, and there are great sorrows destined to the world. So Al Yehuda ben Bava Bikshu Lo Markei. They also, when Yehuda ben Bava died, they also wanted to say Anim Hei Chasid Hei Anav El Shenitra for Shah. They couldn't because Ein Maspin Al Ruge Machos. He was one of those that were executed by the Romans, and you're not maspid them. Torah Baruch. Ein Ma'abris Hashana Elim Ken Yirtzen Nasi. The whether or not you do an Ibr Shana is dependent on the Nasi. You don't do it unless the Nasi wants it done. Rabbi Gamliel had some diplomatic efforts that he had to do in Syria. The Shol Lavo, and he delayed in coming back. In the time where it was appropriate to do the Ibr Shana. So the Beis Din, without him, went ahead, the Ibr Sashana. But they did it al Tanai, on the Nashi Yirtzeh Rabbi Gamliel. On the Tanai that when the Nasi comes back, that he would be happy. When he came back and he said, yes, I want it, then retroactively the year was a Mehuberes year. So one of the reasons to add a month is if it was very muddy and you can't get Yerushalayim for Pesach, they would add an extra month so it would dry out. Or if there was great floods and rain, the bridges were not walkable, so they would add an extra month so that a month later it would be walkable. For example, the ovens that had to bake the matzahs, many of them would get ruined because of the rain. So you'd have to delay it a month. Because of the exiles. And people would have to walk to bring the Korban Pesach. Traffic is great, it's a big distance, below Yigiyu, and they couldn't get there in time. So that was another reason why they would add an extra month. Snow was not a reason. It usually was not that much of a problem to have snow. V'lo mipnei atzina, not because of cold. V'lo mipnei gol Yisrael shelo yakru mimkom. And exiles where the people were not taken so far. Period. Ein ma'averes hashana lo mipnei agdim v'lo mipnei atloim. For example, let's say for the Korban Pesach you need sheep and goats. Maybe there's not enough of them that have matured. That's not a reason. V'lo mipnei hagoizlos shelo pirchu. Or doves that have not flown yet. You have to bring them as a korban too. Aval oisneson sad l'shana. You could add that as a snip. If there were other reasons, and you wanted to put that as a reason on top of it, it was allowed as an extra reason. Ketsa. Now, what was the nusach? How would they send messengers? What would they say? This was the way Rav Shimon Gamliel would write a letter. I am informing everybody. The Goizler Rechivim v'Imer de'Arkin, that the birds are very young, the sheep are very thin, v'Zimna d'Aviva lo mata, the time of spring has not come. We mean the Tkufa, the equinox, March 21, the day when the night and day are equal. So that we'll see, one of the reasons why they would push the month is if Pesach would occur before the 21st of March, you can't do it. You got to add a month. V'shofar milsa ban poi, v'oisifel al shosa dotlosin yom. And it appears correct in my eyes, and I've added to the year 30 days. Meisvei. Now, a Jewish month, the lunar cycle is 29.5 days. So half of our months are 29 days. Half of our months are 30 days. That's how you have a lunar calendar of 354 days. So why did Rabbi Gamliel, when he added the month, why did he add a month of 30 days? Why didn't he add a month of 29 days? Because he seems he added 30. And the Gemara brings a kasha from a brayso, Meisvei. Did Rav Shimon Gamliel hold that it was 30 days? Kama Iber Hashana. When you add a month, how big is the month? So the Tana Kama says Shloishim Yom, 30 days. Rav Shimon Gamliel Chodesh, and a regular Chodesh is 29 days. So why did Rav Shimon Gamliel, who you quoted in his letter, why did you say 30 days? We have a brayso that says he held 29 days. Rav Papa, he didn't mean a specific amount of days. He meant a month. Ratzu Chodesh, Ratzu Shloshim Yom. It's up to them. They can decide. Do they want 29 days, want 30 days? Tochazi ma'ike bein takifa kadmoi le'in v'sei basroi. Look at the difference between the great Rishonim and the modesty of the Achronim. In the sense that the earlier generations were even greater anovim, greater modest than the later generations. And Rav Gamliel was not, Shimon ben Gamliel was known as a great anov. Rabbi Gamliel, who was prior, was even stronger than him in Torah, because he's an earlier generation, but he was even more anov. Where do we see this? Ma'aser Bar Gamliel shayoshev al gav ma'ila b'harabais. He was sitting on a step in Harabais. Yochanan Sofer Alaz oimed lefanav. Yochanan the scribe was sitting in front of him, ready to record what he would tell him to write. V'sholosh igros chatuchos lefanav munachos. He had 3 pieces of parchment to write 3 different letters, ready to write. V'omer lo, take one letter and write. La'achna b'nei Galila ilah, u'la'achna b'Galila tata shlom chon yizkeh. To my brothers of the upper Galil and to my brothers of the lower Galil, welcome. Me'udayin an chasa we are informing you, L'chain, Dizman biur amata lafrushim me'asar mimatna dezesa. In the 3rd and 6th year of the Shemitah cycle, they had to do biur. They had to, all the produce that they had to destroy had to be done already. And you have to separate all your maestras from the olives. The tol igros achada v'kasuv, take another letter and write. Lachna b'nei droim shlom chenizget, to my brothers in the south, in Judea, moedin anchasol lechon dizman biur amata lafushe maestra me'ur meshibama. Now is the time to separate the meiser from the stalks of grain. In the Galil, most of the produce was olives. In Judea, most of the produce was wheat and barley. So now there's the tol igros achada. Take the 3rd letter, uksuv. Lachna bnei galvasa. He's now writing a letter to the exiles, in Bavel. Ulachna de b'moda, and those in Mead. Ulashar go gavasa de Yisrael. And the Jews in the rest of the Golus, Shlom chen yizgaloin, Shalom Aleichem. Moedin anchas alechoin, the Goyzer Rechichen. I'm informing you that the birds are still young. Imra arkin, the sheep are very thin. V'zimna daviva lomata, and Pesach is going to come before March 21. V'shafar milsa b'anfei v'anfei chavroi v'osiv al shasa do yomin plus. And therefore, it's correct in my eyes and in front of my chaverim, right? He didn't just say my eyes, but he says udban chaverit. It shows how modest he was, more modest than Rav Shimon Gamliel. That he's adding 30 days. It was not him who decided it, but it also is chaver. So the Gemara says that's not a proof. Dilma basar davru. Maybe, remember, Rabbi Gamliel is the one who had a fight with Rabbi Yoshua, and they voted to get rid of Rabbi Gamliel and put Rabbi Yoshua in. But then eventually they put Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah in. So maybe this occurred, this story, after they had removed him from his post. And now he really had a chaver, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. That's why he had to write in the name of his chaver, and not that he was such a big guy. Al shloisha dvorim ma'avrin, Es Hashanah, Ala Aviv, where the barley is not ripe yet, because they have to bring on the 2nd day of Pesach the minchas ha'omer from the barley. If it's not ripe, they got to push it up. Val peres ha'ilan, the fruit is not ripe. Valat kufa, the tkufa is the day, the vernal equinox, when the day and the night are both 12 hours, and it has, you can't have Pesach, 15th day of Nisan, occur prior to that day. You can never have Pesach earlier than March 21. If it occurs, you have to add an extra month. Now, you don't need all 3, says the Gemara. Shnai man mavri. If you had 2, that was enough. Alecha ben emav. If you only had 1, no. However, Bizman sha'avivecha me'makol smechi. When it was said that the barley was not ripe yet, that's one of the reasons everybody's happy. If they're figuring out that they have to wait for it to harvest, people are happy because it's not going to be a problem regarding the Isser Chadash. That for the vernal equinox. Now they didn't understand Iboilat Kufa Smeikin. Were they happy if that was one of the reasons? Or Alat Kufa Ma'avin? Is the equinox reason alone a good enough reason, even if we had one reason, which is not like the first Tana? So Teku. the poskim hold that alat kufa alone is a reason to be ma'abir. We take into account 3 different lands in Eretz Yisrael. Yehuda, Eivra Yarden, V'Agolil. To see about the ripeness of the fruits, everything we've been talking about. Al Shtaymen Mavin, Valachas Ben Ein Mavin. If you have a problem in 2 of these provinces, that's enough, but not 1. But everybody was happy if Yehuda was part of this because the Minchas Omer came from Judea. And clearly, there's not going to be a problem to bring the Omer because it may have been ripe in the other area. You must be in Judea to do the Iber Shana. If b'diavad you did it in Golil, it works. But it doesn't work. We hold like the Stam Baraisa that if you did it in Begolil, it would also work. Amr of Yehuda, Rav Shimon ben Pazik. My time of the Chananya ish oinai. Why did he say it doesn't work in Golil? Amr Kra. The pasuk says, "Ki im alamako, asher yivchar Hashem lokechem mikol shivtechem asum et shmo, lishichno tidrushu vasasham." Kol drisha shata doiresh. If you have to darshan something b'halacha lo yeh ela b'shichno. Shel makom. It has to be done in Eretz Yehuda, which is near Yerushalayim. Ton Rabbanon ein ma'avris hashana el b'yom. Iber Shana, when Beis Din adjudicated this issue, had to be in the daytime. It doesn't work if you did it at night. Adding an extra, doing Kiddush HaChodesh, is it a 28th, with the Eidim, 29 days, 30 days, it also has to be done in the daytime. If they said Makudish at night, it doesn't work. Aravava Maikra, you have to blow shofar on the yontif where the chodesh is hidden. Which yontif you don't see the moon? Well, it's Rosh Hashanah. Most yontifs, it's in the middle of the month where you can see the sun. And the yom is a Rosh Hashanah. Uksiv, kichok liYisraelu mishpat elokei Yaakov. Ma mishpat biyom. So we learned by Mishpat, it says, Biyam anchilo es banav. So it has to be done in the daytime. Av Kiddush HaChodesh bayom. So Kiddush HaChodesh also has to be done in the daytime. If it's done at night, it doesn't work. Okay, very good. Tomorrow we're going to learn at 5 o'clock.
Wow.
5 o'clock. Are you sure you're going to be finished Mincha and Mari by 5?
Mincha's at 4:30.
No, Mincha's at 4:40.
Yeah.
Okay, 5:15. Let's do it 5:15.
Yeah.
Because people like Hanukkah parties, so I want to.
But you have to see the Levona. So how did the Makadesh the Levona if the person didn't see it? So
No, they saw it the night before. They saw it the night before, and they came to Bezdin, and they were Makadesh in the morning.
But we say, but so then on Rosh Hashanah you don't see it. It's just an allegoric thing. If you wouldn't know it's Rosh Hashanah if somebody didn't come the night before, so the moon and tell you.
No, Rosh Hashanah was established already from the previous month when they made Elul. They know for sure it
what
was
day it's going to be.
Elul was always a 30-day month. So that period. So then the next day,
so that's
they
what
knew that.